The final match for our round-robin group stage, we have Chaemiko against Fortitude. It's now or never for both of these players, and we go into apparently twisted meadows. A lot of money on the line for both players, and a little bit of money on the line for my co-caster, Todd. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, excited for this one. We're going to be playing cross-map here, actually, in this game. And I'm very curious to see what they go and creep up first. Is it going to be the laboratory? Is it going to be the mercenary camp? We got a Mountain King on the way for Chaemiko on Twisted Meadows of all map. Wow, it was mentioned on the desk. Like, I knew it was a possibility, he might go for that, but on Twisted Meadows, not the easiest map to creep on, but maybe the fact that he spawned next to a mercenary camp encourages him a little bit more to do this. And also, it's not like in the old days. Now you can actually pull those camps to creep them a lot more easily.
Yeah, it's going to be possible to do a couple of camps. The lab and the mercenary camp is definitely going to be what Chaemiko is going to go for. The greater mana, it almost, you kind of get into this Terranistan territory where the opening item for both of these players is going to be very important. If the Mountain King can get a mana potion, if we're going to see the Archmage maybe getting an invul pot, heal pot to help him against that focus fire. And could we see maybe this staff of teleportation into the main base by Chaemiko with that clap harass?
Yeah, typically you don't really expect any Mountain King first to take place very often unless you're playing on Terranistan and Mirror. So I don't even know if Fortitude was going to scout necessarily early enough, but he is. Look at this. Footman already on the other side of the map. He knows that Chaemiko is one of those players capable of throwing in a Mountain King first. And now Fortitude, you can pay extra attention very differently against a Mountain King. You know, you might play maybe a little bit more aggressive as to not let him get level 3 as easily because you got water elementals. And as NK gets close to getting level 3, you also maybe want to time an Arcane Tower in your main base because you mentioned it, the staff there with Clap level 2 can be quite deadly.
Oh, and a greater mana. Both players getting good items, but for the Archmage, it's not as important. But for this Mountain King of Chaemiko, this is an incredible item. And I was going to ask you, is there any X factors we should be looking out for? Because for the Undead Mirrors in the Europe yesterday, we saw a lot of just curveballs they were throwing each other's ways, a lot of different playstyles in the Undead Mirrors. But for this Human Mirror, is there anything different these players are going to be doing, other than the Mountain King that we already see, of course?
Yeah, no, I think like... I mean, it really depends, right? Like, does Fortitude want to play one base or does he want to expand? With the way he's creeping right now, it looks like he might want to expand. I see no tech just yet in production tab, so it's just going to be a standard mercenary into expansion. If you look at Chaemiko, he's waiting to pick a second spell.
Right.
I think if maybe Fortitude would play very aggressive, then he might go bash and then just try and bolt bash a lot of the units to get to level 3 quickly and then bolt level 2. But now, with the way this is going right now and him being able to create the expansion safely in a second, it's almost certainly going to be clap on level 2 and 3 so that you can start clapping at units very strongly. And yeah, that greater mana, I mean, if you expand like Fortitude does now, you're very exposed to Mountain King showing up, starting to kill a lot of stuff, but your Water Elemental and your actual army potential to fight is still going to be very good if you try and counterattack.
Yeah, the issue is always going to be that Mountain King's not going to be able to heal up, but that Priest is going to help so much. Won't have mana to disenchant any of those Water Elementals on the side of Fortitude. Both players are going to expand. It's going to be a two-base game, and it's going to be level 3 for both of the starting heroes. Okay, we're going to have to see some towers go up. Fortitude's expansion is a little bit earlier due to the lumber, but here comes up the expansion for Chaemiko, so both are going to be on time. The question is, will the Mountain King get any harass done? Will the Archmage get any cancels on a potential expansion? The Water Elementals with the piercing damage could definitely do that. Staff of Teleportation is nicely used. He's going to staff to a Footman. Oh, we could actually get this cancel.
Yeah, Chaemiko is close enough that I don't think it should be possible to get the cancel. Now, it's really about can Chaemiko minimize the losses that are going to be happening there. So far, he hasn't lost anything. That Peasant about to go down. One single attack will do it here from the Archmage. But the Footman dies, the Water Elemental dies. You don't want to feed the Mountain King too much. He went both level 2 and bash. So no clap at all here for Chaemiko, who realized that Fortitude was going to play aggressive. And like I said, against big aggression, it's better to have Stormbolt level 2 to work with.
A player's forces are under attack.
And he could really just chase that Archmage around all day, but luckily for Fortitude, he has that greater heal, so that's not going to be an option. If not, we probably would have seen Chaemiko just chase that Archmage all the way, use the mana pot, kill the Archmage, get him out of here. But now the Footman going into the main base. It was a nice defense so far by Chaemiko. He was ready for that staff in, but now he's got to defend the main base as well. The Footmen are just sort of poking and prodding, but the Bolt is something you cannot run away from. So another kill to the Mountain King, getting closer to level 4.
Yeah, so it's scary. Like when the Mountain King starts leveling this quick, ultimately there is the Tome of Retraining available to go for Clap. And then if you want to try and counter the Mountain King's Clap, which you know will be there in the late game no matter what, you could choose to try and go for Mass Air here as Fortitude. If you want to go for grounds, you can also do that because you have Brilliant Aura. And instead of the traditional, you know, like expansion against expansion, we don't see Breaker Wars as much. It's a lot more about going castle, getting knights, sometimes Waltars. Then maybe you could add some sorceresses. And because you have Brilliant Aura and the opponent doesn't, having sorceresses and breakers means that you take control of the fight with slow. Supposedly for Chaemiko, it should be a Blood Mage second, unless he wants to go for Archmage, but then, you know, it's always going to be completely out-leveled. And those water elementals could be stolen unless he goes Blizzard, but also, you know, that's not necessarily the strongest thing you can do. So I'm really curious what the follow-up is going to be for Chaemiko, but yeah, Fortitude, there should be a double Sanctum made when he reaches tier 2, unless he wants to go for air.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options for the Mountain King player. The second hero is always up in the air, but yeah, Blood Mage probably most likely level 4 already on the Mountain King. Level 2 Bash is going to help out quite a bit, and the Bolt is just securing Chaemiko so many kills. Fortitude's going to get a couple on his side as well, but definitely the experience on the Mountain King much more important than the Archmage. Although that level 2 aura is going to come into play, especially if we are going to see those Sorks on tier 2 like you mentioned, but not a lot of economic damage, and it's been a lot of attempted pressure from Fortitude, but he's just not trading favorably. He's almost going to lose another Priest here. He probably is, and maybe even going to be surrounded if there's another Bolt from that Mana Potion.
If Chaemiko would make defend now, I think he could get a really strong push going on the expansion of Fortitude, actually. Like, because then defend completely nullifies towers. He's gonna force a staff out. Bash immediately after that staff was used, Romantic forced to Town Portal out there. Even used the Greater Healing as well. This is really quite bad for him, what just happened there. Now, not having a Town Portal is pretty bad at this stage in the game. Of course, he's gonna be able to buy a new one. Sometimes you can even go for Zeppelin, but remember, he never cleared out that lab near his main base.
Yeah, that was a little bit sloppy, honestly, from Fortitude. He used the potion. He got surrounded by just kind of AFKing his Archmage. He got surrounded, then it got bashed, which is, of course, lucky. But the level 4 Mountain King, he got pretty good bash at that point. One Footman going to go the way of Fortitude at last, and 1,000 gold in the bank for both players that are now both actually reaching tier 2 at the same time. So a very even macro game. But definitely Chaemiko getting a lot more kills, and he's even going to get a creep jack. Could even get the last hit with a bolt potentially on this big item.
Oh my god, 2 units are ensnared. He's gonna go for the Priest immediately. So that's gonna get denied. Maybe a little bit too fast of a Stormbolt here. The Ogre Mauler gets surrounded. Mountain King is already 4 1/4. He's gonna get so much experience from this. Could finish the camp and get close to level 5. But he's chasing the Archmage right now. He sees this Archmage without a Town Portal. Yes, there's the staff, but there's always the chance for a bash. It's hard to choose exactly what to do here for Chaemiko, but he keeps seeing those mercenaries, and it's like a $sign pops up in his eyes, like it does me right now with that bet I got going with Neo, and he's like, oh, I need to kill those.
He's getting so close to level 5 already. Like, every bolt is just a kill, and when you're getting a kill on those Ogre Maulers, that's over 100 experience. It's so much gained. Okay, straight to tier 3 for Chaemiko. He's going with that Blood Mage second barracks, so probably Inner Fire Knights in the future, but double Sanctum, Mountain King second for Fortitude. If he can get those Sorks out, if he can get that Aura level 2 on his Archmage, maybe there's a world in which tier 2 against tier 3 Fortitude could win a fight, but not if this Mountain King just keeps killing every single unit with a single bolt.
I'm surprised Defend wasn't made. I think he would have helped a lot against both towers and water elementals, but level 5 already against a level 3 Archmage. Ideally, Chaemiko should scout that there is double Sanctum, which, you know, it makes a lot of sense. I said it before. And he should go for his own double Sanctum. Couple Priests, some Breakers, try and keep up with the opponent's slow, because that's really like slow that you're supposed to see here a lot of the time. But Fortitude's getting Breakers right now. He didn't go into Priests at all. He didn't go into Sorceresses. He's just getting 2 Breakers right off the bat. And he went Mountain King second. Sometimes you can go Blood Mage second yourself to try and negate the opponent's Blood Mage. The Archmage in danger. He's got a potion. Gonna be able to make it out of there. He gets level 4, pulls back to the retreat of the Arcane Tower, but Chaemiko still has so much left over. He's so good at surrounds. If this Mountain King of Fortitude steps too close, he's gonna get bolted and surrounded. He's just gonna go for the target instead. Blood Mage shows up. He's gonna have so much mana to work with. I think this Mountain King is gonna go down here. Muddy the Golem shows up to try and slow the Mountain King, but the last Stormbolt goes down, and that's going to be a Mountain King down here for Fortitude, who's in a world of trouble.
All players' forces are under attack.
Siphon replenishing mana here on the Mountain King. As Fortitude is still making breakers. I'm not sure why exactly he's making so many of those breakers. And really no priest, no sorceress at all. But Castle is about to finish for Chaemiko. It's only now starting for Fortitude. That's so late. The Archmage could be trapped. He's gonna try and stuff out. Can there be a bash? He's blocking with the Peasant beautifully. The Mountain King does not hit once. So that was not a chance to actually land a single one of those bashes here as the Archmage was trying to get out. Alright, Chaemiko is out of mana on both of his heroes. It's time to pull back. And in the meantime, he's already getting Mortars. He's pumping out a lot of Knights. I do feel like he needs to add some sort of breakers. But I mean, right now he feels like he's so far ahead that even with maybe with just pure Knight and Mortar, he might be able to do it. I'm so shocked to see Fortitude not make a single Sorceress.
Alright, I'm back. Level 5 Mountain King is so strong. This is a ridiculous performance from Chaemiko so far, Todd.
Yeah, it's been insane. Chaemiko's pressure really forced Fortitude back into a corner of his expansion, and he's been crumbling under it. Finally, the first few sorceresses are being made. Those were so delayed this game, and I think that cost him a lot. But with Chaemiko's tech advantage and supply advantage and level advantage, he's just looking good everywhere. And I think he's going to want to look to deal the killing blow here in a second.
Yeah, like you pointed out earlier, just breakers to start, but the priests just get one shot. We could see right there, one bolt, one kill, another bolt on the side, but the mana drain is always gonna be there. Those berserkers from earlier are still up for Chaemiko, and the Tri-Hero is going to help out so much. Tier 3 against Tier 2, you know, the writing is on the wall. Both players still 2 base economy, but you know, this tech advantage is too much, and this Mountain King is definitely too much as well on the side of Chaemiko.
Yeah, he's getting so much mana back. Like I said before, it feels like Fortitude kind of went on autopilot. I don't know how often he plays against this, but against Mountain King, you need to play vastly different than you do against Archmage. Rushing the breakers like he did it. Now he's in panic mode. He's trying to add as many sorceresses as he can, but it feels like it's so late. He's out-leveled, he's outproduced. And just because he has 2 Arcane Towers on the expansion, this is still very pushable, especially because Chaemiko's going for Mortars.
Yeah, Mortars are going to be pretty good against this number of sorceresses. Is there a chance, perhaps, this is maybe just hopeful thinking, Polymorph against the Knights? Maybe there's no aura to dispel too much? Could it be a thing in the future for Fortitude, perhaps?
If he would manage to somehow get there, but I don't see Chaemiko giving him the time, but Chaemiko seems a little tentative right now. He's just kind of running around. He's hoping for Fortitude to maybe move out, make a mistake. Fortitude's catching back up in supply as he's spamming casters. Ooh, that's... Blacksmith dying is actually really bad at this stage because you cannot make Knights anymore as soon as that dies.
The Mortar team's putting in a lot of work. The priests keep rallying in just to die. The sorceresses are the really important ones to stay up to get that slow off. Siphon is pretty good on the side of Chaemiko. The Blood Mage may be about to fall, but there's a Holy Light. But only level 1 Holy Light, so both heroes getting low, but the Mountain King gets bolted, and the Mountain King looks like it's going to fall. The level 3 Stormbolt does secure that kill on the side of Chaemiko, and it looks like the expansion is going to break. The Blacksmith is going to die, just like he said, and looks like game 1 on Twisted Meadows may be going to Chaemiko.
Yeah, still 74 supply for him here. I'm so shocked he didn't go for any Sanctum at all. I really think that many sorceresses early on for Fortitude would have done it for him with the holds. Maybe Chaemiko was counting on that, on Fortitude to make that mistake, but it seems unlikely. And that's going to be it for game number 1. Chaemiko with the Mountain King first on Twisted Meadows. This is a very dangerous thing to do. Do not try this at home. This is probably going to go really bad, but when he does it, it works.
Yeah, absolutely dominating performance from Chaemiko. A clean game 1 and game 2, I believe we're going to Echo Isles, and that's somewhere we could see a Mountain King again if he wanted to do it again.
Yeah, there's always this mind game of, is he going to expect me to do it again? I would expect Fortitude to play a lot better against it next time around, because that was almost like the worst thing you can do here, to just go Mountain King second yourself, try and just go for breakers immediately. And also the way he played very aggressive maybe showed a little bit of inexperience. Of course, like I said, if you sit back, then Chaemiko's gonna go clap level 2 and then he's gonna be harassing your peasants and killing a lot of them. So it's kind of hard to pick, but you wanna be aggressive with controlled aggression. Now he was diving a little too hard, he was throwing away a lot of units. That MK got level 4 very quickly, and I mean, it's not the biggest power spike, but if you feed a Mountain King level 4 very quickly, it means he can get level 5 very quickly, and then that's when you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he almost ended on 6. We almost saw Cosmodon that game. And yeah, I almost think this aggression has to be, you show the fact that your army's close to your opponent's base if you're the Archmage player in this situation in Fortitude shoes, but you don't commit in, you don't lose all those units, you certainly don't get your Archmage surrounded and feed so much experience. With all these mercenaries, Fortitude seem to just continuously buy mercenaries and continuously lose them to a single bolt. So yeah, you just got to show your army, say, hey, I'm going to hit peasants, you need to defend, but not actually commit in and lose that many units, because the Archmage is going to scale pretty well with the possibility of going casters, but if you're losing your whole army straight up, you're eventually going to lose that expansion to just a big push, and that's what we saw Chaemiko do in Game 1.
It's not like Sorceresses would have solved all of these problems, because Stormbolt level 3 against Sorceresses still kills them pretty fast, especially before they finally get training, which you can't really rush anyway, but they still would have helped so much with the slow. And then if you get to the critical mass early of, like, let's say, 2 Sorceress, 2 Priests, and then 2 Breakers, then suddenly these fights become so much easier, because again, you're the player with Brilliance. The opponent's not even going Breaker, so there's not going to be any problem of him sending the slow back your way. And even if he had Breakers, you have Brilliance, he doesn't. So that's really the way to kind of try and deal with this, which Fortitude completely ignored. He played as if this was some sort of Breaker war, like even that had been open on one base. He just went straight into Breakers. That was so weird.
Yeah, a little bit strange, and he just stuck with that Mountain King second. You mentioned a Blood Mage second would be a really good choice, and I got to agree with you too. But yeah, just staying on tier 2 when you both get clean expansions like that, yeah, it's kind of weird. He played it, like you said, like a late expansion, a tier 2 Breaker War expansion. And Chaemiko just did whatever he wanted. He got Mass Knights, didn't even build a Sanctum as well. That was kind of funny. What a cool style. Seems like a really fun style to play, honestly, the style that Chaemiko played, and effective. And you don't really see Twisted Meadows too often. So maybe this is a map that Fortitude isn't too comfortable on, because of course human players in every other matchup will veto Twisted Meadows as their first veto. Only in Human Mirror will you see it, because you're both human, of course. So maybe a map that he's not too comfortable on. But going into Echo Isles is definitely a map that all humans are comfortable on.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the more played maps in most matchups. Like, you, as human, I don't think you really veto it against anything. Maybe occasionally against Elf, because you're worried about the Warden. But in this tournament, actually, we've seen him played a bunch as well. The thing is, we have to take into account that creator meta as well. Like, yes, it wasn't used for a very long time, but the thing is, just it being picked up and being there, for sure, Fortitude saw it and he was like, you see a greater mana on the Mountain King creeping a Mercamp first, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna get my peasants clapped, and a lot of them are gonna die. And because he was so worried, I think that's why he played this aggressive. So, yeah, it's not just, you know, the greater mana is there, and like, why was he playing so aggressive? He was worried about what that could achieve, and that forced mistakes out of him, because this great item was picked up early on by Chaemiko.
Yeah, that's going to force more Arcane Towers, which is going to give you a slower tech if the Archmage player, if you're Fortitude. So a lot of things, that greater mana, just the potential, just the seeing it, just the fear of that much mana on a Mountain King that early can make you do a lot of things, and it made Fortitude lose a lot of units. Yeah, every bolt was a kill. Yeah, it looks like we're pretty close to getting into Game 2 on Echo Isles. We'll have to see if there's a fast expansion again. Definitely a map where we could do that for both players.
Absolutely. The altar placement should tell us where they're headed first. For Chaemiko, we're going to head straight down. And it's going to be an Archmage this time around for both players. Actually, Fortitude puts the altar at the top. I wonder if it's going to creep at the top first, or maybe that's a bit of a mistake and he's going to head straight down as well. Usually the standard creep route on this map will be Mercenary Camp first. Very easy to do with Militia and Water Elementals.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what both players go for. So far, the farm's in the front. Yeah, that altar placement, a little bit weird, maybe a little bit scared. Is Fortitude going to play a little bit safer? But yeah, you definitely want to get that Mercenary Camp. You want to get those Mercenaries. And if you do want to go for that expansion, you're going to need them as well. And then early defend, I think, is one thing Chaemiko could change. You mentioned that a couple of times. I think that'd be great on maps, on this map in particular, with those early Mercenaries for sure.
Remember what we're playing for here as well. The winner of this match will be qualified for the quarterfinals, where he will face Moon.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah. Very important game, and a pretty good matchup coming up regardless of who wins here. Fortitude looks like he was trying to steal the Troll Priest, but Chaemiko on points, buying that. He had the credit card ready. Oh, a peasant is gonna fall to the footman here. That's unusual. Little bit of mistake creeping, but that's because the footman was there bothering him. I think that he made that mistake. At least he didn't get the water elemental purged. And lightning shield wasn't cast either. But a lot of those peasants are taking damage just because of that bothering footman being there.
Yeah, definitely a forced error on the side of Chaemiko with that footman of Fortitude harassing, but the footman of Chaemiko is actually going to probably secure 2 kills of his own, so both players may be a little bit sloppy with their creeping. It is a difficult camp to creep right away, but yeah, nice footman awareness from Chaemiko. He's so good with those little scouts. Same with Sok. These Korean humans are so good with that individual scout footman, it feels like.
Absolutely, yeah. Very well done. They both got a good item, but I still favor the claws +9 a lot more for Chaemiko than the mana pendant. You know, an Archmage with extra mana, like, I mean, yeah, sure, but an Archmage with +9 damage? Now we're talking this guy's feeling like he's a Blade Master.
Yeah, the claws are very important in this matchup for not only trading damage on the Archmages themselves, but also picking off those footmen when they try to run away. It's very important in the early game, and it's very important if we're going to see an expansion, because the early game is almost extended when you see fast expansions. A lot of tier 1, a lot of mercenaries, a lot of footmen, so yeah, the claws are going to help out. And there's opportunity for another one for Chaemiko, actually, from this Ogre Magi. And of course on Echo Isles, same with Northern Isles, we have the Marketplace. So these Archmages could be stacked, and it is another claws +14 on the Archmage of Chaemiko. And Gloves of Haste for Fortitude, not too bad, but it's definitely not hitting like a truck like the other Archmage.
Yeah, that extra damage can come in so handy here for Chaemiko. Neither player went for defend here. Oh, and there is a tech queued for Chaemiko. Oh no, sorry, never mind. That's the Town Hall.
That's the Town Hall, yeah.
Yeah. But, okay, no, Fortitude is the one that's going to go for the tech. He sends back the peasants. That's highly unusual. I think he was hoping that Chaemiko would go around and try and harass his expo, and then he would show up and there would be no expo. And now Fortitude was the one about to start harassing those peasants. This is... I'm a little bit surprised, but they talked about it on the desk as well, about how Fortitude is really good at Breaker Wars. We saw that even when it's not technically supposed to be a Breaker War, he still tried to make it one last game on Twisted, so now he realizes that teching now would be bad, so he's going to go for the expansion, but his expansion would start so late. The one of Chaemiko is already almost finished, so unless Fortitude wins this fight very convincingly in the center, it's going to be in a bit of trouble there. And when that Archmage hits for +14 from Chaemiko, it's going to be extremely hard for that to actually happen.
Yeah, we could see that extra damage already coming in on all those footmen and the Archmage. And yeah, a little bit weird. Maybe if Fortitude saw the items of Chaemiko, he wouldn't have gone for this aggression because he felt like he could maybe cancel or kill that expansion, kill all the peasants. But like when you see those items on the Archmage, there's really no chance of you winning this exchange. So a weird choice again from Fortitude. He had a couple sloppy decisions last game as well with getting that Archmage surrounded, using that potion before the town portal. But there's still a good chance he's going to build his Town Hall now, but the keep is already coming through, as well as the shop for Chaemiko, so very much ahead. But we'll see how much damage Fortitude can get in this push.
Yeah, it's still ambitious to start a shop here in front of the opponent, almost disrespectful. Like, that's obviously going to be an easy cancel, but I guess for the time that was happening, he was attacking the units. The Archmage kind of tanking some of the damage. You want to be careful with that Chaemiko here. Defend on the way for Fortitude. And he's got more units right now. I feel like, yeah, Chaemiko is overextending a bit here with the fighting. He should just send in militia. He should just sit back next to his Arcane Tower and then drain those priests, drain the Archmage of mana, maybe target the Water Elemental as well. He restarted the shop in the same spot, almost.
Yeah, the BM shop coming up, but, you know, once it's up, it's going to be very helpful. Get a little more mana even just on that Archmage. He doesn't have the Pendant of Energy like Fortitude has. One footman could almost be killed by just those peasants alone. Will certainly be killed by that Arcane Tower when it's upgraded at Fortitude's expansion. A lot of mercenaries exposed. Yeah, like you said, maybe that overextension is going to cost Chaemiko. Berserker goes down. Footmen's traded, but a couple of priests are going to have to back off because they cannot tank that Arcane Tower. Level 4 for the level 2 Brilliant Sora. That is a huge level up in this matchup.
This is big, especially because it happens at a time where they're not going to be fighting too much. You see, like, Fortitude's pulling back. He needs to kill that footman. The more delayed his level 4 is, the worse it is, because those two priests now, they only have Brilliance level 1 active instead of level 2. So he really needs to kill the units, and that's for Chaemiko not to let that happen right now, realizing that he's level 4 against just the level 3 of his opponent.
Yeah, the one footman got chased off. That would have been that level up. Boots of Speed are going to be nice for that Archmage, as well as the shop creep. There's only 2 camps that aren't mirrored on this map, and that is 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, so 6 o'clock is going to go. Chaemiko, at least the item, the Archmage of Fortitude coming in, trying to poke and prod and do a little bit of damage, but the claws are so effective, and everything is half health, it seems like, for Fortitude, who doesn't have the luxury of that shop quite yet that Chaemiko built so aggressively, and the rest of these creeps are going to go for the level 4 Archmage.
Look at the tech difference between both players. Tier 2 is about to finish for Chaemiko. There is a chance he just grabs the Panda here. He gets the healing scroll here at the top of the day. This is huge because now he has so much more of a good fighting potential. I'm really curious what second hero he gets, but on his priority seems to be to start Castle, a Sanctum as well. And I don't see him sending anything to the Tavern. He turns around for a second. He must be thinking about it. I think getting a Panda and pushing here would be so strong because he has the healing scroll, he still has that double claw active. He's still making footmen. Is it a Panda? Yes, it is. Fortitude is in a world of trouble. He needs to somehow find a hole there and start coming back in this game. The Archmage of Chaemiko, level 4.5, against just slightly over level 4 for Fortitude, who didn't have a shop yet, and that's going to be cancelled as well. Chaemiko, can he do this? It would be a 2-0 and it's spot in the quarterfinals if he can win this game right now.
Oh my god, the defend is ready for both players, but the shop, like you said, was not up, and everything was already so bruised, as well as that Archmage is getting really low. The Panda isn't going to help out either. The heal scrolls, of course, on the side of Chaemiko. Everything is going right. The peasants in the back were militia before, but they didn't put in a lot of damage. Town Portal out, and now the expansion is exposed. Okay, Fortitude did Town Portal to the top of the expansion, so he can continue to defend, but the Arcane Tower is going to fall, and with that, all these peasants are exposed, and the Archmage is still low.
There's still that one scroll. There it is. He uses it to replenish a lot of the units. The tower is almost down, but good job repairing here from Fortitude, who drained a lot of mana from those heroes. He's definitely salvaged that a little bit, but the Archmage, he's already lost Town Portal. He's gonna fall, and Chaemiko, with that win here, should be moving on to the quarterfinals. I mean, yes, the tower survived, but that's it. Fortitude is out of the tournament. Chaemiko with a masterful performance.